Hello everyone and welcome to the Refresh Point. My name is Ben and as always I am joined by my constant co-host Steve. Steve, how's it going?
Man, staying incredibly busy. It's been a really full summer and still a lot more to go. But we're where we can. We're trying to fit in some Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, a little bit of personal news. I've been a little bit of overwork. We've been busy at the job lately. So we've missed out on a good amount of Weiss Schwarz and Weiss Schwarz related news, and by the gods, goodness how much we have missed. So today we'll be catching up on everything we missed in June and following up on your homework. Did you watch the video? If you didn't watch the video, you were told, you were given plenty of time. You had plenty of time before the deadline to do the assignment. After you shuffle your deck, stop cut, and we'll get right into the refresh point with some breaking news. Uma Musume has hit, and we'll talk a little bit about it in our first whale sighting in a while, but our foils are fucking cooked, chopped and cooked, and even harder are our double rare ratios.
Yeah, so we've got Uma, which we've been anticipating and knew would be meta, help define the meta for at least a little bit of time here. And sure enough, here it is. It's gonna be a very good deck for a very long time. So if people don't like horses, I got bad news.
It's definitely very much fine right now, and it's gonna be a very good deck for a very long time. Right after, call it 5 months from now.
I think it's pretty good now, and it will be better. It will still be at the top of the meta now, just because our meta is kind of rough right now.
And speaking of meta shaking up releases, we're gonna get Bunny Girl 4.
Yeah.
Don't you love getting heel looped at 2? Isn't getting heel looped at 2 your favorite thing?
This isn't going to change very much about the meta, I don't think, because I do not think Bunny Girl 4 does that much for the Bunny Girl deck. That makes the current best build they have slightly better and adds some diversity for yellow builds, but I think overall there's very little to be excited about in terms of modifications to the core deck. It's just gonna be the same deck. Where
doesn't it have just like a new early play healer?
It does. It's like a
pretty cracked.
Yeah, which is good because it has interaction with the event.
Yeah.
But again, hard to win with 2x finishers, man. I'm gonna throw that out there. Hard to win with 2x finishers, but we'll see.
We will see. Metaphor Re-Fantasio, the ongoing Atlas collaboration continues. We are getting a Metaphor set. It did not get announced specifically as an English exclusive.
No, but it is coming to English first, it seems.
It did not get announced as a global release either.
No, they're playing it a little bit cagey, where I'm guessing this set will release in other languages eventually. But the announcement
could be like an English China,
English first, and then China maybe, Korea maybe. I
don't know,
but
hard to say.
Yeah, we did get it first as part of the AX announcement, and
the kind of pre-AX announcement.
Yeah. Because AX has been going on this weekend. Yeah, it's great news in terms of the property. It's a very popular game. If you haven't had a chance to play it, it's very fun. A little classic little Atlas JRPG style game. But again, we're presented with an opportunity to design a set for English, and critically, we need to not mess it up. Because
Eminence was a set of all time.
Yeah, Eminence was kind of disappointing in terms of like leaving big holes in the mechanics. I think in general, I can only speak for myself, but I've talked with lots of people about English exclusives, and at its core, we just want English exclusives to feel good. They don't have to feel broken, but we need to have an excuse to play them in the meta.
And that's a really salient reasoning you've given for our Spike Corner later.
Yeah, and the thing is that the last exclusive evidence is just not. And so we just need to improve the design for English exclusives, make it better, make it more flavorful. The Eminence design isn't flavorful really. So hopefully some lessons were learned from the Eminence design and we can improve it. But I think a lot of us who have bought English exclusives over the years, we've gotten to the point where we might be starting to feel a little bit jaded about, how these things are designed, because for the most part they've been pretty weak.
Right. Yeah. Also, we have a lot of fuel for our game balance discussion later today, because Kaiju number 8 is also coming over to the English language.
Yeah, and if you've been listening to the Refresh Point for the last, few months, I've been preaching that we needed this set in English to help bring some strength to the meta, and I'm very glad to see this. Because
are you getting a case of this?
Probably not. I will own it, and the reason why is because this is the type of set that's going to elevate the player base, or you're going to get real mad. One of the two. Because Kaiju 8 will force you to play in a disciplined manner. You cannot add the cards you want to add all the time. You cannot have the back row you want to have all the time, because they will punish you over and over again if you try. So it will force you to be more disciplined, which I think is important to push the community's skill level up overall in competitive play, or get farmed by Kaiju 8. That's just going to be the way the game's going to go. Either you lean away from it and try to minimize the amount of nonsense that they hit you with, or you lean in and then you're like, man, this set's fucking lame. But I think overall, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a short check over, because it happened so long ago, by the time that we recorded this. But we had Long Beach, California, Jakarta, Rosemont, and Kuala Lumpur. And shout outs to the homies that are placing well. I'm pretty sure there's just like 6 million Ohio teams in that Rosemont top 8. There is shout outs to Dark, who just took Steve Long's 8 stand by Fujimi and paired it with Jon playing a Door Pants Eminence deck to second in Long Beach. And lots of crazy stuff going on, and lots of expected things going on. So Long Beach was pretty shortly after the Eminence release, and as expected, I think even if it wasn't regarded as excellent, there were still people that wanted to play it, and you certainly could, and you could pilot it to a reasonable level, especially since kind of with the door deck in particular, you got some soul rushing going on when your doors have like upwards of 2 or 3 soul triggers attached to them when you trigger them. So
yeah, and funnily enough, 2 of the 3 candidates here in top 4 are pants decks.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, teams it opens things up a lot, and you can if you've got like some meta decks kind of figured in with your team, you can squeeze in some other stuff. And so a lot of these builds are like 2 meta decks and then something wild.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, Bang Dream, OSK something, or Hololive,
hey, you know what?
Bang Dream something.
In Rosemont, the only Overlord list that was there was 8 Door Eins. They definitely finally killed the 1/1 3-2 early play deck. Definitely.
Yeah, I guess
100%.
I guess we'll see once singles season comes around. But I will note that in the 2 NA events, there was a P3 deck in the top 8 of both events, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 different ones, by the way.
Yeah, and 8 pants.
8
Persona
pants
3.
is crazy work.
With Girls Band Cry and 8 by Azure Lane.
That is hilarious because 8 pants Persona is the most regular deck that's ever existed. It has nothing. There's nothing to even point at to be like, this is the reason we're playing this.
It's a check 4 combo into a pick one of burn 2 or burn 4.
Yeah.
And that's the finisher.
That's the whole deck. There's nothing shocking here. It's like
some early play,
some healers, a thing that gets climaxes. We got a Ricky and a Rico, and then we got tap counters and stock swaps. Like it's just a regular human deck. This deck isn't even running the tap counter, it's just running the stock swap. So I mean, it's just fair Weiss Schwarz, and
it's allowed to win.
If it's your deck, if it's your day, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's our quick catch up on the many BSFs that have happened. If we sat here talking about every deck that caught our eye, we would give up and then go eat dinner.
The thing that should be the takeaway, the thing that should be the takeaway from
we're cutting ourselves off.
Yeah, the thing that should be the takeaway from BSF is that try to find a team that isn't running OSK. Just try.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Okay. So let's see. If we go to Long Beach, there's an OSK. Hey, the second place didn't have OSK.
Yeah.
Bang Dream as their kind of their quote unquote meta of choice.
It's full like
OSK,
90%.
non-OSK, OSK. Oh, okay.
It's
so
like 90%.
2 of the top 8 didn't have it. Then in Jakarta, it was a singles event where OSK won the event. And hey, you know what? In 8th place specifically, there's an Overlord, the usual player.
Yeah.
So
Kaiser Soze, the devil himself.
Oh man, that's funny.
4 Seabass feels aggressive.
And also 4 of the drop search guy. No Ricky, by the way.
Maybe that set's not legal. That's all I can figure.
Maybe
it doesn't have any of the. Maybe it wasn't out yet. That was a while ago.
The tournament was June 6th. When was? And he still got top 8.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't out yet.
I mean, there were 12 players apparently,
yeah.
So you know,
it's a local.
Yeah, yeah. Take that as you go, for sure. And then looking at the Rosemont tourney, 64 teams: OSK, non-OSK, OSK, non-OSK. 6 of 8.
Yep.
Then 9 teams in Malaysia.
So
then there's
12 out of 16 of the 3-man teams had OSK in them. So
yeah.
Take that how you will.
There were 2 in the Kuala Lumpur tournament, which only had 9 teams, and then 2 of the ones in top 8 had OSK. Not the winning one.
Yeah.
The winning one just had Bang Dream, you know.
Yeah. So it's pretty tough out there.
They have a Pixar deck in this top 8. That's funny.
Yeah.
Because they can play that shit. That's neat. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
All right. It's time to wrap up the bit that we set up. Literally, we recorded the beginning of this bit 1.5 months ago. And you've had plenty of time to do your homework and listen to the game design video and understand that game balance isn't real. And what do we mean by that? We mean that the general goal of quote-unquote game balance is nebulous at best. It's all vibes, man. And some of the key concepts from that video is that ultimately, right, the devs of a given game, and it was a very fighting game centric game, but some of these concepts kind of applied back to Weiss. They want player retention, and especially even more so than video games, right? Because in video games, for a good amount of time, it was the case that your interaction ended at point of sale.
Yeah.
They got you to buy the game, and now they're done.
Yeah.
But in card games, it has nearly always been the case that they want you to keep playing the card game forever.
Well, yeah, and you're starting to see, and they kind of talk about it in the video. You're starting to see that shift in those video game communities because of season passes, because of DLC characters, and
like live service.
Live service
general.
as a game, yeah. You kind of need to keep your player base satisfied, and not only just satisfied, but like motivated and pleased with the way that the game behaves.
Yeah, and in one of those, and following along one of your sentences from earlier this episode, you were saying that, what do you want from an English set?
Yeah.
Well, just repeat it again.
Yeah.
What do you want from an English set, Steve?
So, like I said, it doesn't need to be the best set we've ever released. It needs to feel satisfying to play, and it needs to feel satisfying to play against. That's the best case scenario for all releases, is that I think it's players need to feel that their deck has something to offer, and that the thing that they offer is strong but fair.
Perceived fairness. Because true fairness is boring.
Correct.
And does not actually lead anywhere.
No, and I think that that's an important thing to point out, is that chasing a balanced meta, like the idea that the meta has like a level playing field where many things are all viable, or let's say strong, is both not desirable in my opinion and impossible without serious degradation of what makes the game fun. Because I think Weiss Schwarz, especially at its core, most of the sets, what you're looking for in addition to strength is the set feeling like the property that it comes from. When you have the flavor of the set in the game, that makes it so much better. What's cool about Kaiju 8 is that the character that has a giant minigun that destroys anything, well, when you play that character, guess what? When you play the minigun, you just kill people. When you play her, you just kill people.
Isn't it a railgun?
It's a giant cannon, right?
All right.
So that's the character. The character is like this omega powerful girl with this huge gun that just annihilates everything. And so what does her level 1 do? Annihilate people. What does her level 3 do? Annihilate people. And so that feeling is satisfying for the player. And
you didn't even watch Kaiju number 8.
No, but I know that, right?
Okay.
I don't need to watch.
Right.
I can see, I get 20% of every anime because of the algorithm and Weiss Schwarz. Okay,
all right.
I got you. All right.
Okay.
But that perceived thing, I'm doing the thing from the game, right? Or I'm doing the thing from the show. Free Rend feels satisfying because we have a giant amount of spells. We can cast all these spells because we're wizards. And so it's like, okay, this spell flies, and this spell does this, and this spell does that. And it's like they all do little different mechanics, and we have synergy that works with them. Fern works with them. Free Rend works with them. So it's like, okay, that all feels right. And so that's part of what makes good design for Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah, and Frieren did not necessarily within itself land as an uber broken set.
No,
or anything.
It was mid.
But people still regarded it as like a pretty fun set.
Yeah,
and like a success generally as a set.
Yeah, it wasn't strong, but it had good mechanics, and it had a flavor that was good.
Because to take an example from that video, if you walked up and you were marketed to adapt the example, and you were marketed to a card game, and you were like, all right, there's this great new card game, okay, there are 12 sets in it that are all perfectly balanced, and none of them have any inherent advantages or disadvantages against each other. Is that is that a game you want to play?
Yeah, and of course,
No.
like, you might think you do, but once you start playing it, you'll realize that you don't, because every game doesn't feel like it has... Your agency feels dulled by whatever the randomness of the game is. So it's like, well, if all the sets are the same power level, then then chance is starting to become the thing that deviates the matchup one way or the other, and that's not a particularly great feeling.
Yeah, and then the original example in the video is like, here, Street Fighter 2, 16 characters, all perfectly balanced, with no advantages or disadvantages or differences between them whatsoever. Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah.
No. You want to play, and that's kind of, that is kind of the complaint about different sets that, like, do not have as much flavor or change, or start falling into call it the 1K 1 soul slop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of base Weiss at this point is 1K 1 soul slop, where if you, in nearly any set now, like printed in the last 3 years, even if there exists like a really good, relatively overpowered thing, like Overlord, when we refer to Overlord, we don't refer to the 8 choice deck or the 8 pants deck.
Or even the 8 door deck, which is like a regular human deck.
We're referring to the door bar deck,
Yes.
or if you're Steven, the 8 bar deck currently, where you do this crazy thing where you're like, you have this immortal god being that's on your board that can never die and can never be killed, and he's a lich, and you get all these events that is kind of like his almost his minions, and you're pinging them one to death with it. And like there's this whole interaction of like getting the events and trying to make sure you're managing your clock and your game state and your deck state and etc, and it's like a relatively unique game plan, as opposed to I check my deck, I mill it if I can or if I want to or whatever, and I have an advantage engine that gets cards in my hand at level 1, and then I loop that until I'm level 3, and then I try to kill you with insert approximately 6 packets of damage here, and if you're compressed and I get blocked, then unlucky.
Yeah, exactly. I think that one of the dangers about the way Weiss Schwarz is designed is that the thing that makes decks different from each other isn't game plan, because many of the game plans are similar. Like, to refer to another card game. So if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, in Magic the Gathering, there are decks that have a very high tempo, and by tempo I mean like they get onto the board quickly and they are aggressive, and their power curve is very sharp at the start of the game and very poor at the end of the game. So they need to win quickly or not at all. And then there are other archetypes that win in the mid game and win the long game. All Weiss Schwarz decks, generally speaking, unless they have a very unique game plan, are mid-game value decks, where you want to derive as many resources as possible through as many efficient mechanics as possible to build the exact amount of resources that you need on top of the compression that you want in order to achieve a game state that is winning. And it is very rare that a Weiss Schwarz deck wants to do any other thing beside that. Eins is one of those things where it's like, this deck is going to approach the game in a fundamentally different way than everybody else, because they have a totally different game plan that doesn't rely on any of the standard parts of the game that normally exist.
And even then, it still is constricted within the game of, you still need hand and stock and like a halfway decent deck state. None of those things even change.
No, it's just that your strategy is going in the mid game and late game is going to be quite different. It's the other deck I would compare this to that I think has a relatively, there's two other decks that come to mind that are like relatively unique approach, relatively unique strategy. One of them is like any minus souls soul wall deck at early in the game. Hololive is probably the best one, but there were several other ones that worked in the same way, where it's like, my game plan is not going to be predicated on anything except grabbing you by the neck and holding you to where you cannot hurt me until I can reach a game state where I can win. And that game plan is still, for the levels 0 and 1, pretty similar to most Weiss Schwarz decks. It's really where, when you hit the mid game and late game, you start to see deck diversity, where it's like decks start to approach the game in wildly different ways about how they're going to assert themselves in the mid game. So it's very rare. The other one I was thinking of is Emma Cross Delta, where they have a like strange loop that they're trying to achieve. Meanwhile, while all the climaxes are all the other climaxes, so they get to basically play any climax that they draw for the maximum amount of effects. And as long as they can keep looping this thing and they keep blocking, they can build this like very negative, hard to handle compression engine. But again, that's just like a different way to reach that mid-game value prospect, where it's like I have a bunch of compression and I'm blocking all the time, right? So it's in Weiss Schwarz, whenever you see a deck that's much stronger than another deck, it's usually because we're dealing with one or more profiles that are out of spec with the standard of power for the era that they're in. So, like, to use the most obvious examples, OSK Brainstorm / Free Play is those combination of cards are just out of spec with the same cards that do the things that they do. Now, there are lots of Brainstorm 5s now. They've become much more common than they were. This Brainstorm 5 hits on 2 specific climaxes, which would be restrictive if those weren't the best climaxes in the set. Instead, they just feel like value. And then on top of that value, you get to additionally provide more value by sometimes flipping your center stage character into your hand. This is kind of similar to what we're going to see eventually with Uma Musume, where you have a card that produces so much hand size that it reduces the amount of good things that need to happen at any other point in the game. Because this one card alone is generating so many resource advantages in hand that you can play the rest of the game in a relatively relaxed manner, because you know that you will have very little to worry about because you're getting so many pluses. The Dansu Flame Brainstorm does this same thing, where they have the ability to scry many times in order to make it effective, and then whenever Brainstorm hits, they show you 2 cards and you have to give them 1. So instead of getting +1, it's usually +2, sometimes +3. And so when you're gaining this many raw resources, it changes the desire, like how you approach the rest of the game is under much less strain. And so it's these type of outsized profiles that you see defining the meta of Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting to kind of see how the English side of the game is being handled and tuned. Because our ban lists for sets that even exist in both languages have now significantly diverged.
Yeah.
Right? And an interesting one that somewhat deals with player perception even is the slime restrict. We have many recorded podcast episodes of Steve believing that slime would still be good and that it was not weakened significantly and that it would still kind of work the same. And me, like both of us, we were like, I mean, they took the 1-0, but like you still get the hexproof and you still have advantage combos that lead up to there, and nothing about the exact game plan really changed, right? But in the end, as it turns out, the consistency hit for getting to the state and even the goodness of setting up that board became just less good.
Yeah, and I think that's it's a combination of things, right? Whenever a set is already aging out, you know, it had been in the meta for a couple years, and top of the meta for a good long while. It had already received previous restricts that were already kind of gripping their strategy and making things difficult. So the combination of like time and multiple restricts eventually shoved it out of the meta because the game has become too hard. And it's fine to do that, but you need to keep in mind that there's like a level of balance where you're relying on your tournament results to kind of drive the bus on your data, to drive the bus on your restricts, right? So every time that they announce a restrict in English, they will talk about data.
Recently, yeah.
They will talk about how it performs in the meta, how it performs at regionals, and a lot of times the sets that are in the crosshairs are sets doing really well, right? That makes sense. But it's worth thinking about the idea that sometimes the game can be figured out by letting the players kind of explore and understand the strength of a set, and letting time and release and the meta strengthening kind of figure your meta out a little more than just going at the top set with a hammer every chance you get.
So I think it was really interesting that they decided to kind of free up Overlord somewhat for exactly one tournament. Literally one tournament, right? They're like,
Worlds,
we are going to let Overlord be stronger for Worlds, and then immediately clamp it back down right after they saw what looked like was happening at the World Tournament, and expecting a power boost from the extra booster.
I think
which does happen, right? Like, you get an early game consistency increase from the extra booster. But, like, was that with it, and the heavy-handedness of that restrict, which hits even just other decks, right? Like, other decks that are not this 1/1 plus 3/2 deck cannot play tap counter plus Fumio, cannot play, Maid plus Fumio, Maid plus tap counter, etc., etc.
It's here's the thing, and I obviously
it's a weird tuning.
Yeah, and I'm biased because, and I acknowledge my bias because I've played a lot of Overlord this year, and last year, but I think the idea of trying to preserve a version of the Irons deck is a noble idea, because while a lot of people really don't like it, it does have, I believe, a place in the meta as a check to board-based strategies. The problem is that in pursuit of trying to keep this one deck viable but constrained, you've constrained unnecessarily many other Overlord decks, which not only cannot perform in the meta because they were already probably not strong enough, but now on top of that lack of strength, they are now constrained by restriction. So that part of it is undesirable, and so maybe it's better to just let the whole thing go and ban the 1/1 so that the other decks that exist for Overlord can exist at their full strength.
Nah. Here's my hot take. Like, it's semantics, right? But, like,
agreed.
Can't you just make a ban list that says, if you play the 3/2 or the 1/1, right, then you cannot play XYZ. And then if you're anybody else, you can play it.
I think there's a way to phrase that. I don't know that
whatever way you want to phrase it, right? But it's like,
I just don't know that their current rules framework supports that, and I don't know that we should be corner casing one set to, like, changing the rules of Weiss Schwarz to accommodate one set. Either just let the set be how here's the thing. This deck's not gonna dominate in singles. It's not. No matter who tells you what, this deck in its current state will not dominate any meta. It won't. And the faster the meta becomes, and we're headed into a very fast meta very quickly because we're about to add a whole bunch of strength to the game. All the sets that are going to be coming out at the start of the singles season are nasty, powerful sets. And so the strength of the meta is about to take a big step up. And when it does, this deck is going to get worse. It's just going to be weaker. And there are a lot of sets that it's not good against. It's not good against OSK, in my opinion. And I think that it's okay to allow this deck to exist. And I don't think that if you unrestricted all the other cards for the other deck and you just ban the 1/1, I think you would get the exact same results either way. You have a deck that's okay and does a thing that is okay, and sometimes will pop the fuck off. But it's not unrestricting all that cards isn't gonna make the 8-door deck meta. It's not gonna do it. It's gonna make it mid instead of just weak, which is what it is now. So you're just kicking the can on a problem that you know is gonna continue to exist, because you're not gonna. There's another Overlord set. And it's foolish.
Oh, that's really funny, actually.
And it's foolish to believe that set will not be released in English eventually. Not anytime soon, I'm hoping, but eventually. And when it does,
it will actually be hit on arrival. It was just hit in JP, and it was hit in a way that I think was more similar to how the English Restrict handled the 3/2 Eins, in that they kept the core of that deck alive, in that you were still playing the check 3 Brainstorm and you were heal looping at 2, but now you don't have rest counter and you don't have a good 2/2. Like, you have a shitty 2/2, which like, oh no. But also, like,
who cares?
Kind of who cares, because the original 2/2, if you are unaware, let you set your top 3 rearrange on standby come into play.
Right.
So, like, undoubtedly good for the deck.
Very good.
Right?
Yeah, very good.
Amazing.
A deck that heal loops also wants to cancel a lot, and if you're triggering, then when you trigger, you get to reset and figure out whether you're going to trigger more or whatever. That, like, more knowledge gained during the attack step is the most powerful knowledge that there is. It's actionable. You can decide how you want to approach that knowledge.
And so, if the English Restrict stands as it is for that incoming deck, that one now also loses the Fumio and the tap counter.
Yeah, which it already just lost the tap counter in JP. So
yeah.
So again, we're pursuing a balance idea. Like, the idea is that this Eins thing in its most powerful state is undesirable for the game. So we're going to weaken it by making it less powerful on the top end. Because we know we're filling in the bottom end with good cards. The Demiurge Leafa, the Ricky, and all the stuff that comes from set 3. So they're trying to get ahead of it by saying, okay, we know this set's gonna release, and this is why the additional restrict came in, not because of anything that happened at Worlds. Overlord didn't do shit at Worlds. So
it almost did.
Right, but it didn't even make top 8. And so it's like, okay, the set's not that strong already. But we all know, and we're not stupid, that if they had left it the way it was and they released set 3, then it becomes really problematic. It's hard to beat in their good games. Like, their bad games, they can lose to anything. But in their good games or their okay games, it's very hard to beat. Because heal looping with tap counter is a very challenging set of mechanics to overcome in any set. And when you have a bunch of level 3s on the board strangling you with heals and tap counters, then their snowball potential is just unbelievable.
So, and because of that, I think it's interesting that they put the Fumio on the restriction list.
Yeah.
That feels like a stray.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, if you question what people thought was especially strong about Overlord.
Yeah.
I think you might have been one of the only people on this fucking planet Earth that was like, you know what? I did resolve the Fumio like twice and it won me a game.
I resolved the Fumio to win Pasadena. Like, win it straight up at the end.
Right.
And so it was like, the Fumio has windows of power, but like, that's not what makes decks good, right? It's just another thing that you have access to. But yeah, I would say if you're playing a card 1 game out of 20, then like, is it really the linchpin of the deck, or is it just like a corner case card? And it's just a corner case card. But it is a way that you can very slightly chip at a deck where you're just like, okay, if I just chip off like 2% of your power by removing this one mechanic that you use very rarely, now that corner case is now a loss case, where it's like opponent has many damage cards in their deck and is compressed. Now I just have to walk into that. I don't have any choice in the matter.
Many damage cards in their waiting room.
In their waiting room, yeah. Like highly compressed, there's no outplay. Like they just jam their whole level 3 combo and you lived, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that would be the typical edge case for using Fumio, and now you can't do that. Now you just have to walk into their compression. And so it's like there were games that were won by the Fumio that will now be lost because you don't have it. Is it a lot of games? No. It's a very small chip. You're just chipping off a little bit of their power. But same way with the tap counter. There were lots of people who never resolved the tap counter because they didn't have the resources for it or didn't need it. But the thing is that the idea of the tap counter is the strength of it. They can't know that you don't have it. They can't know that you don't want to resolve it. They can't know any of that. So they have to play like you can and like you do, whether they know it or not. And that is the strength of the card in general, is watching your opponent's side for no reason other than the fact that you have this thing that they know is possible and you have the resources to resolve. So not having to do that means that they can just disrespect you now. They don't have to think about that. That's just another piece that they don't have to think about. And that's important.
Yeah. And so I think it is interesting. I don't know how like the staff assignment goes at Bushi SEA in terms of set design and then ban list design.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, English Weiss gets a weird design problem because you do not necessarily design all of the sets that enter the game. And when you're tuning for player frustrations, right, like there are sets of cards that will just be coming in as they are, right? Like we got Uma Musume 1 and 2. They're gonna come in exactly as they were printed. Like version E is like a concept that is dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, like we're gonna get Bunny Girl 4 exactly as it was printed. When we get Nikkei 2, like it's cool that it's a global release between all 4 languages, but that also means that it will come exactly as it is in JP. Kaiju number 8 will come exactly as it was from JP. This is the expectation. And so you have your 2 tuning levers as Bushi SEA. It's the English restriction list and it's English exclusive sets, which is why, you know, for many players, not all players, but for many players, Eminence and Shadow was such a slap in the face. Because, like, what the fuck are we doing? You know? There is a set out list, effectively, of mechanics that are starting to become pretty universal.
Yeah.
Like, just throughout all of the sets. And the design of the game, at least in JP, has been trending more and more towards, like, you have some cool things to do in the mid game and the end game and so on and so forth, and you have, like, maybe a new broken advantage thing in some way here. You know, like, Cinderella Girl's got that new fucking, like, call it upgraded Kaneda. It's pretty gross and disgusting. And
dominating
like,
their meta.
Yeah. And all this kind of thing. But, like, you don't hear anybody being like, where the fuck is Rico?
Yeah, and the thing is,
right.
is that there's 2 levels to it, right? There's this idea that, like, when a deck has a big hole in its mechanics, and English exclusives have run into this a couple times. We kind of discussed this before the podcast, but when Adventure Time came out, it didn't have climax swapping. In an era where climax swapping was already pretty common, and that hamstrung the deck. It's a really good set and had really good cards. Their finisher is super duper nasty. And
at the time,
and even now, it's a lot of packets. And the sword event, really potent against board-based decks. And like there's a deck there, like a little memory compression thing. Like there's a deck, right? But they just left this huge gaping hole in it, and there's nothing to fill that hole with. And it's critical to the deck's function, that it be able to use the climaxes that you want to use, not the ones you get to use. And it is unacceptable for a deck to be printed without it at this point. There was an era, a bygone era, where that was not a mechanic for anybody. But it's been added to so many sets now that if you don't include it, you have weakened the deck significantly. And there's a number of mechanics that exist in Weiss Schwarz now that we are all expecting. You cannot not include them. You must include some of them, if not all of them. Or you need something to recompense them in a powerful way. If you don't have either of those things, then the set's already going to start off too weak. And the other part of this, which is the part that stings about Eminence and will sting again about ReZero, is promos with important, critical, double R level mechanics that are not easy to acquire. That is something that needs to die from Weiss Schwarz forever, because there's no player benefit to designing the game this way. All you've done is created a haves and have-nots scenario in your player base where access to the cards now defines the strength of a set. There will be weaker ReZero decks that will exist purely because the players live in a place where they cannot acquire the promos necessary to make the strongest version of the deck. That is not good design. And Eminence has so many promos, man. So many that do so many different things that are unique to the set. You cannot do this because you've raised the frustration
the
level.
The
of your...
climax swap is such a fucking, like, Christ almighty. Why? Why?
And so you just add player frustration because now they have to find the cards in addition to everything else about the set. It's like, well, theoretically, if I can acquire them, then it'll be of this strength, but there's like a non-trivial struggle to acquire the cards.
We can even
awful.
It even goes back to like Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh yeah. They've done it a few times.
But
just like there were so many.
The Gun Gale Online Drop Salvage was a shop promo.
Yeah.
Which they are reprinting, which is cool in the BSF like promos, but like that's like
years later.
Yeah, years later. We got the extra booster. That's why it's kind of like come the reason to have it.
Yeah.
But it's like even, you know, like, and to some degree it kind of stinks because it feels like this shitty way of addressing potential design gaps is seeming to be like the only way to like distribute, call it a patch, right?
Yeah. Give it a little bump.
Because like Guilty Gear Strive did not have a refresh counter before Bridget.
Right.
They didn't even have a Bridget.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, you can get Bridget if you do this whole song and dance
that
promo.
was impossible for half the player base because they did live in a place where it's like literally not possible to attend that many locals.
Yeah. And it's shitty.
Yeah.
Like that promo is like, was like $85 optimistically whenever I last thought about it 6 months ago. Right now, who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
It's not cheap.
The Review Starlight refresh promo, which was effectively like, you know, call it a little bit of random community like feedback, being like, hey man, you put this thing in JP like you've put 6 million other Review promos in JP with unique mechanics. Thoughts on us getting at least one of these? And it was cool that we got it, but again, it kind of sucks when your patch to a set is effectively a regional level promo. Regional level, not even just shop level, because we did get some other Review promos that were relatively important. Like, pay to refresh on a 0, that goes to stock. Like, that's a good card. And that was a shop promo.
Yeah.
That's, like, fine. Okay? But, like, the Paywen ditch, the Kazuma on Play on Death, which was a regional level promo, and then, like, a year later,
the refresh counter.
As a regional level promo is like, well, shit, hope I go to the regional so that I can play my set at full power.
Yeah, and what you're doing there is, and in the video they talk about it. There's two bars, right? When you're talking about player satisfaction, we have fun,
yeah,
and then we have frustration,
yeah.
And frustration is the thing that will make players leave the game, because when frustration gets too high and fun gets too low, then there's no reason to continue, because it also costs money and time and effort to play any game.
Yeah, and then in card games in particular, like, you are already spending a good amount of money to participate in the card game. You're going to the local, weekly or monthly or whatever, right? You are going to the regional. Now that they haven't charged for the regional, which, like, I guess cool to them.
You gotta get to it.
But you gotta get to the regional. You gotta buy the hotel. You gotta buy the flight. You gotta drive over. Steve's showing me this Bridget is $100 and like, there's a cost to playing the game. Even in the mainstream, most people that play video games on this planet Earth buy 2 whole video games a year. Okay? So, in the core audience of a trading card game, you are already targeting people that have some amount of money. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which they can start spending on any other thing at damn near any other fucking time if you keep doing shit like this, where you make it just like inhospitably expensive to some degrees to play the game. Now then, these did not affect sets that are super big or super popular as much recently, right? It's like you can like, if you cared enough about these promos in recent times, like the refresh counter promo for Review Starlight, you could probably get by trading around at a regional.
Yeah.
Like, that was not the most difficult thing in the world. Like, if you're already playing a lot of Weiss Schwarz and you cared about this promo, you could probably get it. But it does suck for, like, the thing about Weiss is the Neo standard format. People will get into the game with all kinds of franchises. But if your franchise is too fucking old, then you're getting deep dicked. Like, if you got into in 2 years from now, okay, whatever, they make some new Gun Gale Online product, right? There was like a movie like recently-ish or whatever, and you watch that and you hear about Weiss Schwarz and you hear, oh my god, Gun Gale Online, like, that's cool, how do I play the deck? Well, they reprinted the first set, but that reprint didn't get a lot of fucking sales, so you get to be fucked and screwed, because each one of those Rickies is like $20 a piece minimum, and the rest of the deck is like fringe questionable to obtain. Like, the Extra Booster 1 combo is $38 right now on TCG Player.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like about a year coming on to after the Extra Booster release.
Yeah, and old Weiss Schwarz, and not even old, right? Just like sets that were less popular or less powerful. There's you are dulling your new player entrance to the game because you're hitting them with the double whammy of, yes, but this set is not good. Yes, but this set is also expensive. So you're gonna have to pay more for less.
And I'm not gonna say that we're Magic.
Yeah.
You don't, like, we're not playing Magic Standard. Like, the prices aren't that bad.
No.
But the frustration levels are there. Yeah. And that does suck.
And I think the other thing that's talked about in the video that and by we, I mean those of us who make content, those of us who are very competitive, those of us who are competing on the highest level of the game, have our biggest gripe about is that it feels as though we have no voice in the game. That not only are we ignored, but it's intentional and purposeful. They don't want our opinion. They don't want our feedback. They don't want our experience. they're designing the game in isolation. And
but it's a weird isolation. Like whenever the Overlord restriction, I don't remember if it was the very first one or if it was the one that was afterwards.
Yeah.
But in the little intern Coon Twitter thread,
yeah,
they literally said that like we don't have like world's caliber players playtesting all the time.
Yeah.
And we don't have like literally like the biggest grinders or whatever effectively. And you can go find the Twitter thread and you can check the exact language.
Right.
But the essence of what they were saying is we don't necessarily have the best players in the world playtesting with and like whatever to figure out all the restrictions on the sets. Like we're doing our best with what we have.
Right. And the reality for us and the thing that we as the competitive player base and the competitive scene and the content creators our response should and was, but you could have that. You could have access to that if you wanted it. We, and by we I mean the top end competitors and the top end content creators, we can help you.
Hey, maybe we just suck too much, man.
And
they're talking to the other players that aren't you or I.
Yeah. But I know that's not happening. And they could, right? They could interface with us. And
yeah.
I think that's our greatest desire in the game, is to help in any way that we can to make the game better. Because at the end of the day, we are your most committed players. We are promoting your game more than even you are. We are making all of the content around the game. We are recording all of the gameplay. We are discussing the things that are relevant in the meta. And there's so many of us that are making, just faithlessly making content and promoting Weiss Schwarz and building up our locals and flying all over the United States and Europe and Japan and every fucking where to play the game, promote the game, make the game better. And it would be our greatest privilege to help in any way that we can. But you have to actually interface with us and let us. Now, players are never good at figuring out the best solution, but I'll tell you what they are really good at: figuring out what the biggest problems are. And there is no confusion for the best players in the game to describe to you what is not good about certain sets or what is not good about the meta. We're playing the game tenfold more than you are. And so your angle of design on the game is different than ours, but that doesn't make ours less valuable. And we're looking through a lens that you've already admitted you're not looking through. And it's a valuable one. So I think that there's a level of improvement that could exist in the game if there was more interfacing between the high level players and Bushiroad when they're doing design, when they're doing meta balancing.
And like, you know, devil's advocate, you could argue that there are so few events that occur that like truly determining objectively who are the best players in the world is like a relatively difficult ask.
Sure.
But like at a bare minimum, I don't know,
we can narrow it down for sure.
You hold this world tournament every year. You can start paring down who's been there nearly every single year and think about maybe asking them a little bit of something.
Yeah, and so the reality is that like if you see the same people over
like
and over
if you
and over again,
like literally at bare minimum, I think that like it's not a video game. It's not a fighting game. They don't have like a fucking whatever like social media team, whatever dev team, whatever. And again, because they the English side doesn't even design most of the sets that are affecting the balance of the game.
Right.
But you have the data of who is going to the most tournaments from Bushinavi now.
Yeah.
And you have all of our phone numbers and emails from the account creation. You could send out a competitive player survey not just a BCS regional survey, and target that kind of feeling in particular. Ask those kind of targeted questions, because I feel like, man, I'm pretty sure I filled out the last survey that I got, and maybe I didn't, and the only person that could call me out on that is whoever manages that at Bushiroad, so, you know, whatever. But they did have post-regional surveys last year, but I feel like the questions were more aligned with, like, the venue, the play experience, the whatever. But
which those things are important too.
Which is good, and it's a good thing that they did that. And I wish that more people. And actually, I'm pretty sure that's why we stopped having Houston tournaments at Game Guys. So, you know, shout out to the post regional surveys. But like, I think having a specific, like, how do you feel about the game kind of survey would be cool.
Yeah, and I think that
it's a very low commitment thing that you can put out.
Yeah, it's an easy way for you to get, like, the temperature of your competitive player base and see, like, answer some questions that you may not fully understand, or you're guessing at the answers.
Yeah, and you can do this for all, quote unquote, all skill levels, right? Because you don't just have regional data, you also have the data of every regular local on planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, you're harvesting the data, and so, you know, actioning that data is doable. And I think that here's the thing that's going to be the biggest driver for Weiss Schwarz is coming this year, and you're going to see it with Weiss Schwarz Online. Most of the people that I know that are making content for Weiss Schwarz, including us, are salivating at the idea of having an online client supported by Bushiroad that's getting cards and allowing us to showcase the game and allowing people to have access to the game at a level at which they've never had access before. And the more that the game grows or tries to grow from that is going to add tremendous pressure to the English side of the house to make the game satisfying to all players, competitive and otherwise. And so the fact that this isn't already kind of figured, like, there's no infrastructure already, it is putting them behind the ball already. And I think that when the audience expands, the cries will get louder. And so if you're a Bushiroad, you need to at least acknowledge and be aware of the idea that by exposing your game to a huge online player base, you're going to magnify whatever the good and bad parts of your game are. And if you want to keep Weiss Schwarz Online from completely bombing out, then you need to deal with your fun and frustration curve in a way that addresses the things that are the most frustrating about the game.
Look, I tell you right now, if they have like a time-gated promo in Weiss Schwarz Online, where like there's a promo for a set that you can only get by having played the game in like launch, because they've got this kind of thing going on for like other random gacha games and stuff, where it's like, you know, I don't think it would be like mechanically to that level, like impactful, because power creep tends to like rapidly ratchet up over time in a gacha game. But, you know, whatever, like a certain banner character or a certain like banner weapon is like on release and then nearly never again, like I'm gonna shoot somebody. Not actually, I'll clarify. But like if you put in like the most egregious example would be if you put in like a Rico promo that you only could obtain by logging on in the first month of release, I would jump out a window. I swear to God. That window might be on the first floor, but why? You know, like there are many, many ways this could go wrong. And I would like it that those things just don't happen.
Yeah. And so hopefully this conversation has kind of gone twisty and we've covered a bunch of topics, but I think that for me, as a person who's been playing competitive Weiss Schwarz for a very long time, I think the two things that I want from Weiss Schwarz and from Bushiroad is, one, I want sets to feel rewarding to both build and play. I think a lot of sets are Build-A-Bear sets that have very little deck building expression, and while that's really good for me because I suck at deck building, I don't think that adds very much satisfaction to the game itself. And I think I also like that part of it needs to be improved in some sets. And then the other thing is that sets need to feel like they have flavor and value on release. When a set is dead on arrival, like P3, like Eminence, like I mean, there's been 1,000 different examples of a set.
Makiine?
Yeah, Makiine. Where it's just like this, everyone knows the set's not going to do anything because we can see on, like, just by reading the cards that it's terrible. And it's like, that is not an okay thing to do at this stage of the game. Like, you can design sets to be middle of the road, that's fine, but a set needs to feel like it does something. And when a set from 2025 is just completely dead, I've never seen it played competitively, that is not good design. That is not does not increase player satisfaction. And so, like, you really need to examine how that, and really the English exclusives, really they need to tighten up, like lock in and get with the people in Japan and like figure out,
just have a conference call on design real quick.
Like there needs to be internal conversations that are had, because the English exclusives have been nothing but disappointment. And I feel ashamed to say that when I heard that Metaphor was coming out, I was like, if they screw this setup like they did the last few, there's gonna come to be a time when people just will not buy English exclusives because they've sucked too much for too long. And I hope it never gets to that point.
Like, I feel like most people were looking at Eminence not because they believed that it might be designed to be a decent set, but more so because Atla had such a major design flaw that enabled a crazy deck, that if Eminence, because it was right before Worlds, if Eminence had a crazy design flaw that enabled it in a way like Avatar, you would want to pick it up. But there's a community sentiment that is not expecting much from English exclusives, and that feels bad.
Yeah, and the reality is that because of the way that cards are ordered at the distributor level for stores and things like that, you aren't going to know if the set's good before you have to commit cash to it. You just aren't. Now, players are going to be able to, but stores probably can't. And anybody who's buying at the case level definitely can't. Those orders are 6 months out. The previews don't start till 2 months before. So you have to commit cash without knowing the strength of the set. And if you get disappointed over and over and over and over and over, eventually you're going to come to the sentiment that it is not a good idea to commit cash to this, because the last 5 have all been garbage. So what's telling me that this one's going to be good? Nothing. If anything, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
And with that relatively somber note, I actually hear a different note. You hear that, Steven?
It's an old but familiar sound.
I don't even know if I still have the sound file available. Hopefully it's the same one. It's a whale sighting. Oh my god, look at that. It's Louis Zog's Pokemon Funk remix song that I use for this segment. It's been like at least a calendar year since we've had a whale sighting. Isn't that so cool?
Whales are sometimes, it's not a common occurrence. It's pretty rare. So
yeah, I suppose. But, we could have done this segment a little more.
For sure.
It's been so long. Welcome back to a whale sighting. And holy God, Before I purchased Uma Musume largely to have the cards for the playset and then see whatever foils come out of it.
Yeah.
I did not personally know the foil spread situation on incoming. It is so fucking horrible.
I don't think...
Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing.
There's like 9 SPs per case, and most of them are hot garbage. Everybody that pulled a Curran Chan is like laughing away with their lottery ticket right now. Like,
here's the thing. If you've ever rolled the gacha in anything, then you'll know exactly this. I've never... this might be the most negative case buy in the history of Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah.
I think.
Hey,
this
did you crack the El Condor Paisa SP randomly?
I don't know.
She's got like a wrestling mask.
No.
Darn.
I've never seen this negative of an EV in the entire time I've been playing Weiss Schwarz. This is worse than even... I mean...
Hololive.
Yeah.
Hololive is like the most, I feel like, analogous thing.
Yeah.
Was Nikkei also pretty bad?
Yeah.
Probably.
Where it was just like 90% hot dog water and everything else is just... Even the good cards aren't worth anything. It's just... There's no good double R's in this set.
And actually,
there's one.
No, and the base rarity cards are actually horrifying, where people are trying to list fucking rare Curran Chans for goddamn like whatever, like $12 fucking and shit.
Yeah, and the community.
Literally, Gunnar Jorgensen, our GOAT from Common Grounds, literally had to pull all of his like Curran Chans and other rare Uma cards to try to sell direct to players so that he could know that there were going to players that wanted to play them for non-predatory pricing.
Which is crazy because you can already see the prices falling off a cliff.
Nice.
So
that's
Curran
good.
Chan's down to $5.
Thank Christ.
Which is pretty much what she should have been the whole time. But she's lost 30% of her value inside of 2 weeks. So there's 40 listings at $5, by the way. So this thing's gonna get worse. But there's no double R's that are good except for the one blue one. That's it. There's no value in this set. This is not a whale sighting. This is a fucking minnow sighting. This is like the goldfish that you buy at a PetSmart at 50 for $1. Like, this is the worst card value in the history of ever.
Oh my Christ.
This might be one of the cheapest max rarities we've seen in our lifetime, because there's like one valuable SP. Everything else is a foil or an OFR, and it's just unbelievable how negative the value is. So, and the other thing is that the case distribution. Uma Musume's set is very, very, very big. I got 5 of most double R's, opening an entire case, which says something about the amount of double R's that are available on the market now. Because the only really good double R is the Satono Diamond Clean Cut.
Yeah.
And that card is $25. Down from 40 last week.
Ouch.
So this is the bottom, kids. We're at it. This isn't going down. They've sold 113 of them in the last week and a half. There are three on TCG Player. 3. If you don't have them, you are in danger of not being able to play Uma Musume, because there aren't going to be any. I don't know what to tell you.
Shit.
So that's
we cracked 4 total base rarity clean cuts in our case.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
I think we got looking to buy Satono Diamond clean cut. Just DM me, man.
Yeah, and so I am guessing by the time single season rolls around, these will be $40 a piece.
Yeah.
Because this is the only double R in the entire set of any value, and there are just a shit ton of dead double R's kicking around everywhere. And sealed product is not going to get opened because the EV is in the toilet. So the actual whale sighting is a OFR clean cut. That's what you really want. That will be the most actionable
If you
foil
are
you
selling,
can...
if you are selling base rarity Satoto Diamond clean cuts, hit up my DMs. They are open.
Yeah. And then...
Please.
And then the other...
My Discord tag is Jazzy_reporter. You can find me on Facebook. I need to buy them.
Yeah, the foils are just straight up $100.
Yeah.
And so, here's the other problem. There is a trial deck that is mandatory.
No, they're both mandatory.
One is way more mandatory.
One is way more mandatory. That's true.
The best level 1 combo in the set is from one of 2 trial decks.
And your helmet package is from the other one.
But you could argue that the helmet package is eventually going to be restricted. And so you could just
Hey, you don't know that.
Right, eventually. Maybe not. Who the fuck knows? Anyway.
We still have the one.
So, we have important trial decks here. So, those are going to become hard to find later. You need to lock down your Uma Musume trial decks, or else. Unless they call for a reprint of the trial decks, which they rarely do. Then
yeah, I think they've only ever done booster reprints.
That shit's gonna be real hard to find eventually, and that combo isn't getting worse ever.
Yeah,
it's
check 5 add 2. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and a bonus money. Yeah, and it's 8K. Yeah,
it's not bad.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And
yeah. So Uma is in hell for a variety of reasons. Yeah. I have like 10 SPs I will sell for $10 a piece. I don't know how else to say it. My most valuable open was a Grass Wonder OFR, so that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the OFR clean cut.
That's good. $100.
Yeah.
You can use that to buy.
You can use that to buy a playset.
A regular one.
A regular clean cuts.
Except there aren't a race set on TCG Player, so
yeah, I guess they're gone.
Go look around. Go to www.commongroundcollectibles.com and look for your clean cuts.
Christ. Okay. Something more tangential to us. Why is Brown Dust 2 a mainline Weiss set? Didn't they make Weiss Schwarz Rose?
Oh my god.
Didn't they make that a whole like sub game?
The thing about
for this exact kind of concept.
So this set's not good. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there.
Oh, is it not?
It's just mid.
Okay,
like,
that's funny.
It's mid on release. This is very common for this type of set, in my opinion, where they cast the fish hook.
Yeah.
For the degens, and then when they hook them, they're like, just kidding. The set's mid. And it's like, okay, but you're to
literally
to your point.
People could not buy it directly off of Mercari because it was like
it's triggering the mature audience
the
filters.
porn censors. Yeah.
You can't advertise this stuff on Facebook Marketplace. You'll get your account banned. Like, what are they thinking? These are we're competing for the most lewd Weiss Schwarz cards ever. I
don't know if we're competing if you've already won.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like key 25th anniversary or whatever. 25th anniversary. There's a few other sets where I was like, holy god, at some of the cards. But like Brown Dust 2 is like all of the cards, where it's just like every foil, every SP, and even some of the non-foils are like, holy god, do not play these in public, you will be arrested. Like, I don't know, man. I realize that this game is not meant for children, but oh my goodness. You will get side-eyed in public if you play these cards. Like,
these are played at card shops where Pokemon is being played at.
Yeah, it's absolutely Bushiroad is wilding.
You made Weiss Schwarz Rose already. What was wrong with Rose?
I think the thing is that Rose is the corner case stuff that's also lewd. They wanted the best of both worlds in this scenario.
Oh, is Brown Dust 2 just not explicitly like porn? So they gotta.
And I think that they wanted to grab the bigger.
Yeah, because in Rose they got like interspecies reviewers. I'm pretty sure that's just like actually adult content.
Yeah.
But Brown Dust 2 is not that.
It's like
is that how that goes?
Nikkei but more.
Yeah, Nikkei but more. Sure.
Yeah, slightly more.
Great, awesome.
And so it's just like we're on the very edge of what could be considered like Weiss content, but they wanted to grab for the biggest cash pool. You know?
Yeah.
It's like we got a big audience, we got to reach with the big net. And so we got to put that in the main line so that we can catch the biggest net that we can and just reel all those bad boys in. So this is the cheapest AGR I've seen in some time.
Wow.
So
very funny.
Yeah.
And to wrap up our whale sighting for today, because we are getting in Bunny Girl 4, they are reprinting the stock of the package, but even funnier, they gave that fucking 3K vanilla an SP. And I cannot wait to see how much that is in English. I have no clue. But vanilla SPs are the funniest concept to me in this entire fucking game, man. Yeah, this card has no text on it. We made it an SP, you suckers.
They know.
Yeah.
They know.
There's text on the card.
Japan
There's text
knows.
on the card.
Japan knows.
There's text on the card. It's just on a different card.
Yeah. Japan knows what the player base is about, and Japan knows how to monetize it. So, yes, if you had a max rarity Bunny Girl deck,
sucks to suck. Time
we
to
have
buy
bad news.
4 SP vanilla.
In addition to your My Healers, which will also be SP or SSP, I can't remember. You'll be buying some SPs of cards you already have.
Yeah.
Not just new cards, old cards.
Not just new cards, old cards. Hear me out, guys.
Yeah, bro. They got you. They got you. But yeah, that is hilarious.
It's honestly a peak business decision on their part.
They definitely know what their player base is about.
Yeah, that does not raise, at least personally, that doesn't necessarily raise my frustration level too high. I just think that's funny.
No, and like if you're and the thing, here's the thing.
And if you liked it already, maybe you see this as a benefit.
Well, yeah, if you're a max rarity player, all you see is a non-foil turned into a foil.
Yeah.
That's a straight plus.
That's a win, right? That's like winner chicken dinner right there.
Like, what, you think that, shout out to Box, you think he was upset that they got to add another SP to a deck? I don't think so. No, these people are happy. They're like, that's one less, we're down to one non-foil.
Yeah.
All you got to do is print the Sakura in a high rarity like foil.
Did they not?
I think they may have.
That?
I think they may have.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I think they were able to eliminate all the non-foils of the deck.
That's so.
Which is an absolute win for the max rarity people. So
yeah.
It is funny.
It is funny. All right, that is gonna be it for us today. We had a little meandering game tuning discussion. And, you know, it's always a good time. And shit, we didn't talk about Ohio. We should probably talk about Ohio. We're not recording before Ohio. That shit's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, Solstice.
Let's pull up the points.
Coming up, the weekend of July 18th.
Is the
Ohio Solstice.
All right, so for singles, these fucking cringe overlord Cinderella girl players, they have to keep all their fucking toys. You're gonna bash everybody's heads in with that shit.
Yeah,
and that's pretty cringe.
Yeah.
For everybody else, they got a whole points thing going on. I have no goddamn clue what the fuck is gonna do well. I don't think any of the Chinese stuff will be owned enough and represented enough to like be played and be pushed to play well.
Yeah, the problem is that the best Chinese set that's been released, which is P5X, the release timing is gonna be quite tight with the tournament timing. So you're gonna need a hookup of some kind to get the cards in hand.
Yeah,
but
so maybe they just don't even have it.
But
then the rest of the Ohio tournament, there's been a lot of hullabaloo about the legality of like Chinese decks and Blau and whatever. But realistically, this is a JP Neo Standard tournament.
Yeah, so for context, all sets are legal for this event. This is a community event. So Chinese sets are legal, JP sets are legal, English exclusives are legal. This would be a very unique meta where they can all be played against each other, following their respective language ban lists. So, it doesn't matter because the best sets are all in JP, and this will like one of the big like 4 or 5 sets. Let's call it Assault Lily, Dal, Idolmaster Overlord, maybe Gakwan Idolmaster, maybe Uma, maybe Toho, maybe Tails, maybe D-Side Traumaraya, like one of these type of sets. Maybe they can get it, right? But it's probably going to be one of those first few, because those sets are intensely powerful and they have a density of mechanics that nobody else has.
Dude, I love heel looping. I love staying at level 2 forever. That's my favorite hobby. Definitely.
I do think that the only weakness that those decks have is actually double lossing from running out of time. So, which is important. True. So you can take that. However you need to take that. Use that for whatever strategy you feel important.
Yeah. I
don't know enough about Grand Blue Fantasy. It's brand new, and it hasn't seen much tournament play. But I think that most people are regarding it as strong. So there's that. Yeah. There is a point system for the teams play. You get 5 points, and
is it 5?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that means that if you want to play a 3-point set, you're going to, by necessity, either play 2 weak 1-point sets or 1 medium tier 2-point set and 1 piece of garbage 0-point set. So there was a lot of discussion about the points and which sets should be where. And
it is interesting that I think we have specifically followed in Solstice like a different format than the California points event.
Yes.
Which was cool, and they had a cool mix of things as well. They did specifically pair up the highest point sets against each other on the team.
Yeah.
Which
I'm not a huge fan.
It feels kind of weird to me, but like
I get it. Like
you're
trying. Yeah. The thing is that you shouldn't try, in my opinion, you shouldn't try too hard to balance a 3-man format. It's already gonna be kind of a shit show to like do a points assignment and things like that. But
I feel like
it's okay to like make an attempt.
Yeah.
Sure. But I think you need to live with the idea that like teams is inherently gonna be a wild show.
I do think it was cool that they allowed you to play either the English Overlord ban list or the JP Overlord ban list, as far as I recall. Which deeply funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, there's some real questionable point assignments, according to one humble commentator's opinion.
Uh-huh. Yeah? What do we got?
There's 2 things that jump right in my face and are just like, they're just interesting. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree. They're just interesting.
Okay. Hit me up.
What year did fucking D-Side Traumaraya come out? How is this set still this good? Like, that's the question you should be asking yourself, right?
Yeah.
This set's got restrictions on it, and it's like 4 years old, and still it's just unbelievable. Speaking of outlier design, by the by, D-Side Traumaraya is the outlier design, where it's just like, holy crap. What were y'all thinking? You cooked too hard. And so that one is just like hilarious to me, because I'm like, man, it's gonna be a cold day in hell before D-Side Traumaraya isn't tournament competitive.
And HoloLive.
Yeah. The other one that's funny is that I started to look for what would be the worst 1-point deck to face, in the sense that you'd be like, there ain't no goddamn way this deck's 1 point. Right. And then I saw Eurocamp is 1 point. And I was like, holy crap. That would not be fun to face with another 1-point deck.
Really?
I was looking at the other 1-point decks and being like, man, if you face checked Eurocamp with this thing, you'd be like, there ain't no way this is 1 point.
I love how AOT set 3 gets to pair up into Eurocamp as a 1-pointer.
Or Ayakashi Triangle. Or it's just like, you have no possible win conditions.
Is Card Captor Sakura and JP like...
It's better. I don't know, but maybe.
Grisaya?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, Kanakari got a new set, right? Did that like release yet?
No clue.
Okay. Yeah.
JoJo, you think JoJo can beat?
Yeah, you think JoJo wants
Eurocamp?
to? Yeah. You think JoJo wants to fight?
Or MTI? Fuck no, dude.
You think Spy wants to see Eurocamp in a dark alleyway?
Yeah, it's like, holy crap, dude. This might be 1.5 points. This thing's fucking nasty.
Yeah, they deliberately decided to have like tiers within the points. It's just funny to look at.
Yeah.
Like into Eurocamp, I don't think you want to be Guilty Gear Strive walking up to Eurocamp in a dark alleyway, right? Or even within the 0-point decks, it's like I don't, even within the 0-point decks, right?
I looked for the strongest 0-point decks I could find, because I was like, the only way you can play Overlord is if somebody takes the L on this thing, and we need to find the strongest 0 deck we can find, right?
Like, even within things that are in English, like, I don't think I want to be fucking, like, Apothecary Diaries walking up to, even for the sake of our podcast, like, meme, review Starlight, right? Where it's like review is like combos that do things, and you're playing Apothecary, and you're like, sometimes I trigger chance, and it's really funny.
Well, like, half these sets are from 1,000 years ago, and they would stand zero chance of winning.
Yeah.
It's
even
like,
less chance than, like, some of these are like, Dragon Maid, like
what are you gonna take against? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna take against fucking? All right, I'm playing robotics notes, and my opponent is playing Kaguya. It's like, what? How do I win? He just stand by in a 10K, and that thing's literally Thanos for the remainder of the game. It's just funny, but
it is. No, yeah, and like Horror, he had 0 points. That like got an 8 standby deck that is not completely 0% reasonable.
Yeah, the zero is wild, obviously, because that's like the dumpster everybody's in, right?
Yeah, it's
but
funny.
I think for my money,
like, imagine you're playing to Loveru and you queue up into like that like two soul Gabe Beaufrey list.
Yeah,
and you're just like, man.
Here's the strongest 0 decks. Here's the strongest 0 decks in one man's opinion. We have We have Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Okay. Pretty powerful, pretty good game plan. Like
hey, Darling in the Franks is here.
Yeah,
that's funny.
The other one that I think is really powerful is we have Prisma Ilya, which is not nothing and has like one of the more explosive endgames in the game, where they're just like wheeling you to death.
I like that Puyo's here. I need to order the rest of my red Puyo deck so I can just slam it. This two-soul monster.
But yeah, most of this stuff is real shitty.
I mean, it's all hot garbage. Right. Just like the hot garbage tiers vary wildly.
Yeah. Like some of these are like could be played against tier 2 against 2-point decks, and like there would be a game.
Dude, I'm so Zoomer, man. I didn't know Evangelion existed in this card game.
Yep.
When was that?
Many years ago.
Noted.
I've got some SPs, or what passed for SPs at that time.
What?
Evangelion is one of the first sets that had stamps, and so they got the nerve stamp on their SPs.
What year do you remember?
2013, 2012, before the movies, before the
2012.
Yeah, something like that.
2012, huh? Let me think about that. So
I'm trying to look at all these sets.
So I was born in 2001.
Yeah. I'm trying to see all the sets that I used to own.
Yeah.
That I sold.
Did you sell
in the history of playing Weiss Schwarz?
Did you sell Gurren Lagann?
I never owned Gurren Lagann.
Did you own Kill la Kill?
I still own Kill la Kill in English.
There you
I also have Disgaea and Devil Survivor and Gargantia and a whole bunch of these like real garbage sets from 1,000 years ago.
Hey, you can
hit
play
me up
them
if you want to play some 2010 Weiss Schwarz.
Man, I could have gotten in on this if only I had heard of Weiss Schwarz when I was in the
I've
fifth
either
grade.
owned or I've either
if only I had invested when I was in the 5th grade.
I've either owned or play or still own probably half these Zero decks. That's just that's just how old I am.
That's hilarious. Nah, dude, I was let me think about what I was doing at that time. I would have been much better at StarCraft 2 than I am right now.
True.
Because in high school, in middle school and high school, in between like learning the trombone and doing whatever random electives and homework, I was on the ranked StarCraft 2 ladder. I was cannon rushing, build timing with the best of them. I'm pretty sure I peaked in like diamond on the 1v1 Protoss ladder, and that was very funny. I have only ever gotten worse. But yeah. Alright. We've done at least a mild amount of due diligence on discussing this Ohio Summer Solstice that we're going to be at. So, that really is going to be it for us today. See us in Solstice. It'll be a great time. We are unfortunately a little broke due to a variety of personal circumstances, so we will unfortunately not be at BSF Philadelphia. Boo boo, tomato tomato. But we'll see y'all around, and that's our show for today. So tune in next time after your next deck out, and don't you forget to take the refresh point.